Hi, I'm the Mythology Guy, and I just recently saw the movie Renfield. Now, obviously, I'll start with no spoilers, then I'll give you guys a spoiler warning before I go into spoilers. So, I was super hyped to see this movie ever since the first trailer, where it revealed at the end it was Nicolas Cage, and I was like, oh yes, please, please. And I'm happy that Nick Cage got to play this role, because I know he's always wanted to play Dracula. I'm a huge Nicolas Cage fan, I absolutely love the guy. That being said, this movie's not great, which is unfortunate. Like, it's not great, it drags at points, there's some stuff they really want you to be invested in, but I just didn't get invested in, and neither did anyone I was watching the movie with. I went to see this with Shane and Wilden, one of Wilda's friends, and yeah, we all kind of had the same thoughts on the film. I did have fun with it, though. I don't regret seeing it. I had fun with it. And if someone wanted to watch it again, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I'll watch it again. But, yeah. Now, the thing is, when Nicolas Cage is on screen being Dracula, the movie's amazing. Like, it's hilarious. He's hilarious. He is having the time of his life playing this role. You can totally tell. But he's not in most of the movie, which, like, I don't think that's, like, you know, like a lie to the audience or anything. He wasn't in most of the trailer either, and the movie is called Renfield, so obviously it's about Renfield. Who is Renfield? Renfield is basically, he's Dracula's, like, familiar, like a servant of Dracula. He's like a lesser vampire, where Dracula gets all his powers by eating people, Renfield gets his powers by eating bugs. And I remember when they revealed that, I was like, well, isn't that convenient? You don't have to have any moral question about the thing that gives you your vampire powers, whereas Dracula would have to eat people, and that's why he's the bad guy. I can't help but wonder how this movie would go if Renfield also needed human blood. I actually think it could have been a little more interesting that way. Like, if he had a system where he tried to make sure, like, he would drink enough human, like, blood out of a human to get powers, but not enough to kill them. I think he could have been a little more interesting that way. Or, like, he just has blood bags in his room that he, like, stole from the hospital or something. But yeah. So, the overall theme of this film is, like, toxic relationships. Like, because Renfield doesn't want to do, like, he doesn't want to kill innocent people for Dracula, but Dracula, like, manipulates him into doing it and straight up forces him into doing it and abuses him. You see him, like, slice Renfield at one point when Renfield's like, maybe you don't need to kill so many innocent people, maybe we can do something else. Nope. And yeah, honestly, it's a good message about, like, toxic relationships, and there's actually some really funny scenes that come out of it, because the dynamic between Renfield and Nick Cage Dracula is great. When they're on screen together, this is what we came for. The movie starts out really good with that, and it has some really, really entertaining scenes with that. Like, obviously, I'm not going to go into spoilers here, but there's one scene between Renfield and Dracula where they're talking in an apartment, and I won't spoil, like, plot details, but it's just so funny. The audience was laughing, I was laughing, like, it's great. It's really great how scenes like that are done, but there's not a lot of those in the film. It feels like, in a lot of ways, with this film, it feels like two movies got merged together, because we've got the Renfield story, but then we also have this Awkwafina as a cop story, and no one came here for that. And it's also a very cliche cop story. Like, I said, I'd avoid spoilers, but, like, this is, like, everything you would think happens in a cop story is happening here with the Awkwafina character. She's, like, in like, a town of corrupt cops, she's the one cop who wants to do the right thing because her father was a cop, and her father died trying to do the right thing, so now she wants to do the right thing. It's like, okay, honestly, I think there should have been less of that. Like, I really like Awkwafina, I really do, but let's be honest, no one's here for the cop story. Everyone's here for the Dracula story. There's also, like, there's, like, a mob in this, which, is kind of funny. But, yeah, like, it ties into the cop story and it cuts into all the cool Dracula stuff. Also, like, I think in the first third of this movie, like, every character in Awkwafina's story, the mobsters talking to each other, and, like, Renfield talking, it's just exposition constantly, like, first Renfield tells you what you need to know. He's like, all right, I'm going to start off by telling you how my powers work, how Dracula's powers work, and what we're doing here. It's like, okay, yeah, that's stuff I need to know. But then we've got Awkwafina's character, and the captain just states out of nowhere, now, I made a promise to your father, and your father was a great cop, and your father this, and your father that. And then Awkwafina goes into another room, and her sister's there, and she's like, you know, he was my father, too. I also had that man as my father, and I'm in the FBI, and you're a police officer. You got that, audience? And then suddenly we cut over to the mob, and there's a mobster with his mom, and his mom's like, listen, we're a powerful mob. We're not the richest or the most dangerous, but we're the most feared, and we worked really hard to build that up. Huh? Everybody got that? Everybody got that? It's like, okay, guys, I don't care. I don't care about the mob's, like, deep lore. I don't care about what the cop stuff. You didn't even need the dad story, to be honest. You could have just had Awkwafina be a good cop. It doesn't... There are good cops out there, you know. Not all of them need that motivation. I mean, if the movie was all about her, then sure, I'd like to know all of that. But I personally don't care, because I came here for Renfield and Dracula. And when it, like I said, when it does focus on Renfield and Dracula, it's very entertaining. The action in this movie is pretty goddamn fun. Like, they're clearly trying to, they're like going full Mortal Kombat. There are some straight up fatalities in this movie. People get stuff torn off of them in several action scenes. Body parts are used as weapons in an action scene. Like, it's really fun. I could tell a lot of passion went into this, and they were really trying to make like a really fun film, because there's a ton of jokes and there's a ton of over-the-top action. And, you know, there's Nick Cage hamming it the hell up. So they were really obviously trying to make just a movie that's fun for everybody to watch. But, yeah, it is a little unfocused, and there are times, some of the jokes don't work, but most of them, even the ones I didn't laugh at, I was like, you know. So, you know, overall I had a good time, but not a great time. I would say, like... This is probably, like, obviously don't watch this alone. Watch, like, if you want to watch it with friends. Be Nick Cage fans going in, because I think if you're the kind of person who doesn't like Nick Cage, this is not going to convince you. But, like, it's probably fun to go in with some friends, have a few beers, and, you know, just be a little tipsy and have a good time. I think that might be the way to do it. Or, like, it might be more fun to just watch it at home, where, like, during some of the slower scenes, y'all can just joke around. But I hear this movie's not doing very good, and that makes me sad, because I like all the people in it, and, you know, I like the concept, and I know this is, like, one of Cage's, like, dreams coming true, and I want his dreams to come true, because I really like him. But yeah, I think that's overall what I think of the film without spoilers, so I'm going to go into spoilers now, okay? 3, 2, 1, spoilers. Okay. One thing that's really weird in this movie is during that action scene at the restaurant where Renfield basically fights like a goddamn superhero. Afterwards, Awkwafina's like, oh, wow, you know, it's cool that you did that. You got military training. It's like, Awkwafina, they do not teach that in the military. How to toss a whole table at someone and slice someone's hands off with a dish. Like, are you dumb? But you know, during that point, I was also like, you know what? I'm clearly not supposed to take this movie seriously, so I won't. But then there's other scenes where it's like, they do want you to take it seriously. Also, they bring up, like, that Renfield had a wife and daughter that he abandoned, and I'm like, whoa, okay. That came out of nowhere, but, like, are we gonna go deep into this and learn more about them? Nope. Honestly, you could have taken that out of the movie. Nothing would have changed. I love the scene in the apartment, like I said. And I just love him pulling out the book and being like, I will no longer tolerate abuse. And how he puts up all the affirmations and everything. Because I've known, like, people who are in the self-help space. Look, I haven't, like, been deep into it, but I've known people who have. And from what I can tell, it seems pretty spot on to everything. The therapy group I really liked, which is why I was actually kind of bummed when Nick Cage killed them all, and that was very shocking, so I was like, oh shit, man, okay, there's real stakes. But then at the end, they just bring them all back, and that was something I didn't like. I was like, oh, okay. But then they made a funny joke out of it. I was like, okay, that's funny. I don't know how to feel now. I kind of called from the beginning once they revealed that Dracula's blood could heal people. I'm like, okay, that's going to play a big part in the climax of the film, obviously. And it did, yeah. And, what else do I need to talk about? Is there anything? let's see, we've got the opening, we've got the, I don't think so. Oh, that straight up X-ray Mortal Kombat move that Renfield used to kill off the mobster, where it shows the X-ray and then everything comes out of him. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Shane leaned over to me and went, Mortal Kombat, and I was like, I know. Even, like, Renfield even, like, used the Quan Chi move where he tears off people's arms and then beats people up with it. That was really entertaining. But yeah, there's not much else to say, because it's not like this is some huge, deep, plot-heavy movie. This is just a silly film for people who want to see a silly film. And, yeah, at first, also, I thought the movie was really dumb, because, like, all the cops were like, sorry, we can't, like, stick the mobsters for any of these charges, even though there's a fucking mountain of evidence against them. I was like, okay, either this movie's really dumb or every cop in town is corrupt, and then every cop in town is corrupt. So I'm like, okay. Yeah. Like, literally everyone but Aquafina. This is Gotham, basically. This is Gotham. But yeah, like, the Nicolas Cage scenes were really fun. I loved how, like, he spoke, like, Nick Cage, like, has very good comedic timing, like, I really think. Like, they, like, oh, and the makeup is something I forgot to mention. There's some really great makeup in this movie, like, with Nick Cage recovering from, like, near-fatal injuries, and it looks amazing. I also, even though it's really dumb, I actually really love that joke, where Nick Cage says, I want a bus full of cheerleaders, and later there actually is a bus full of cheerleaders driving by. That's funny. That was a good payoff for me anyway. But yeah, I think that's everything I have to say about it. If you saw it, let me know what you thought of it. If you didn't see it, why are you in the spoiler section? But let me know what if you plan on seeing it and what you're hoping to get out of it. Are you a Nick Cage fan? If not, how dare you? I mean, I get it. But yeah, oh, and something I forgot to mention in the non-spoilers, if you haven't seen Vampire's Kiss, have a whole bunch of people play a drinking game and watch it, you'll have the time of your life. Me and my friends did that, we had the time of our lives. So yeah, Vampire's Kiss is amazing. And that's everything I have to say. I don't know how to end videos.